Big news out of Pittsburgh. The Steelers are trading Chase Claypool to the Chicago Bears for a second-round pick. And how has Chase Claypool done so far this year? Well, he has a 17.6% target share, 18.7% target rate, so above average, but not in any elite level. He has run the third most slot snaps and played the third most slot snaps, so he's going to fall into that role. And I think that's going to be a great role for him in Chicago, where Darnell Mooney is playing a lot on the outside, right? Darnell Mooney, right now, he's playing a lot, as I said, on the outside, a lot of deep passes for Darnell Mooney. 21st in average target distance, 23rd in deep targets, 10th in air yard share, whereas Chase Claypool, 59th in air yard share, 34th in air yards. So Claypool is going to be closer to the line of scrimmage. He is a pretty dynamic athlete. If we look at the former second-round pick out of Notre Dame, 88th percentile 40-yard dash, 100th percentile speed score. Claypool is that power slot wide receiver. His player profiler comp is Brandon Marshall, and it's a matter of Claypool. I don't think the volume is going to be there for him to be like a wide receiver 2 for you, but I mean, he's wide receiver 38 right now in total fantasy points, wide receiver 47 in fantasy points per game, just 10 points a game. I think this is a good NFL trade, but with Justin Fields averaging like 23, 21 pass attempts over the last 4 games, it's still, even with the pass attempt increase for Justin Fields, it's not going to be, moving the needle on Chase Claypool's fantasy value. I think this maintains what we've seen from Justin Fields, though, right? The Bears' defense is going to be bad, and they just add an offensive weapon. So I think that's good news for the Bears' offense, and Chase Claypool is an upgrade over any of the other slot receivers that the Chicago Bears have been running out there alongside Darnell Mooney. I mean, Equinemi St. Brown could be in a little bit of trouble. Dante Pettis could be in a little bit of trouble just with, the amount of targets that are going out that way. Cole Kmet already not doing well, and this keeps Cole Kmet in that low tight end 2 talk. Yeah, I'm not encouraged by how, the ripple effect is going to be there. But this does mean wheels up for George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. George Pickens in particular, but, we've seen George Pickens get shut out this past game. He's playing mostly on the outside, same with Deontay Johnson. Who's going to fill in that slot role? If you need a really deep if you're in a deep 16-team league or larger and you need some desperation wide receiver help, Sims, the slot wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's going to be moving into the slot a little bit more with the loss of Chase Claypool. I think it's Steven Sims. Cam Sims is still on the Washington team. So Steven Sims will be your slot receiver for Pittsburgh. I think that it doesn't really move the needle much for the Mitchell Trubisky / Kenny Pickett quarterback in Pittsburgh. That's not going to move the needle. I mean, it's obviously not good, but it's not going to it isn't a massive downgrade, the loss of Chase Claypool. It's going to be the Deontay Johnson and George Pickens show moving forward. Calvin Austin he's probably not going to return this year from the IR. So it's going to be those 2 wide receivers and Pat Freiermuth, who's going to be eating even more in the slot. You kind of have to bump up Freiermuth just a tad in your rankings rest of season. I mean, he's already been a pretty consistent low-end tight end 1 based on volume. He hasn't gotten a lot of touchdowns, but that's okay. So those are the fantasy takeaways from that Pittsburgh-Chicago trade. I mean, it doesn't really change the fantasy landscape one way or the other for these players, at least not in a significant way. I wouldn't be going out and buying or selling, players. The fantasy trade market really hasn't moved with this Chase Claypool trade, in my opinion.